What is up guys, TopTierYugioh here, and today I just want to show you guys a couple of test hands with my latest Orcust deck, just to show you how consistent the deck can be while still being as powerful as we all know it to be. And now, this list is going to be a little bit different from the deck profile that I did a couple of weeks ago. I made a couple of changes for the ban list and cut the deck size down to 40, but you know, if you guys want to see the deck profile for that, I don't want to spam you with like Orcust videos, and so maybe when this video gets to 50 likes, I'll upload the profile. And so if you guys would like to see more Orcust videos, let me know. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the test hands. I did power shuffle before this, but I will do some other quick shuffles just to show you guys that it's randomized. I'm not like cheating or anything, and I'm probably gonna brick like half the hands I draw. Well, not because the deck's inconsistent, but because I'm like recording this and you never have good luck on camera. But let's go ahead and see. I'm gonna show you guys how good this deck can be. Did I shuffle upside down? Or half of it upside down? Hope not. Oh, okay. So this hand is actually pretty interesting. So, obviously we have Scrap Recycler, which is an FDK in this deck. You can do essentially anything if it resolves, but it's relatively unsafe against a lot of hand traps. If you just were to normal summon this, you risk getting ashed, impermanence, veilered, even Ghost Ogre. I mean, DD Crow. There's so many things that would stop this combo despite it being so powerful that I actually think when you have a hand like this, the best play is to go with Jet Synchron, and then because we drew Succession, we can play around Disruption. So I would normal summon the Jet Synchron, link this into a Link Karibo, and use Jet Synchron's effect. I would discard the Scrap Recycler. So if they DD Crow it, Scrap Recycler is in the graveyard, and we still have Succession to bring it back under Link Karibo in full combo. If they don't, then that's also fine. So discard that, bring back the Recycler, and you still want to bait for Ash. You could still Succession here, but I think it's better to just go ahead and go into Halkifibrax and see what your opponent really has. If they stop you, cool. If they don't stop you, even better. You can go ahead and use Halkifibrax's effect. Summon your Brass Bombard. And so again, this is also a pretty interesting place because we could go into Galatea here and then stop there. But we could also use this Orchestrated Return on the Brass Bombard to see what else we draw. That also would bait for Ash too. I mean, if they hadn't ashed the Halkifibrax yet, then I would assume they maybe don't have it, but this is also a play we could go. So play Return. Just gonna shuffle again real quick. Alright, we drew another Orcust monster, so that's pretty solid. So we don't want to use Orcust effects yet, because we still haven't summoned all of our non-dark monsters. So from here we could go ahead and play Succession. We know that they don't have Ash, they probably don't have Veiler, probably not DD Crow, or they would have DD Crow'd the Jet Synchron. So there's not really many hand traps you would assume they have at this point, except maybe Nibiru, but we've already summoned them too many times for that. If they did Nibiru before here, then we'd be in a bit of trouble, but that's fine. So we Succession back the Scrap Recycler, and then we can use Recycler's effect and then continue from here. This whole combo would take all the time I have, so I think from here we can see that we're able to play. But I don't want to spend too much time on, you know, individual hands. Alright, hand number 2. Scrap Golem kind of sucks. Alright, this isn't so bad. Going first or going second. Same as the last hand. We had the Nibiru in our hand, so it'd be fine if we went second. But even going first, this hand's pretty good. So the main operative cards we have are the Foolish Burial and the Tuning. And then we also have Called by the Grave to extend through one hand trap if it's not impermanent or Nibiru. And so I think the play here is definitely got to go Tuning, but you want something else in your hand as well, so you could use Brass Bombards for another summon. That would be ideal. And so let's go ahead and activate the Tuning and see what we dump with it, because there are cards that you can dump to extend from as well. But if we just have essentially one Jet Synchron, that's just going to be like Galatea Crescendo, but we need something else to extend past that. And we can potentially mill something else with the Tuning. And we do have the Foolish Burial, which could dump like a Knightmare and maybe get us a little more. but it's not incredible, I wouldn't say. So let's go ahead and see what this gets us. Tuning for Jet Synchron. This is another card that wasn't in the last profile with tuning. I like tuning a lot actually, because it's effectively a Jet Synchron, but it's a spell card that you can set if you already open Scrap Recycler and then want to destroy a card. And it also, if you choose to resolve it, you're going to get a mill as well, which can sometimes help. Did not help this time, but sometimes it helps. Yes, I think from here we just have to go with a plain Jet Synchron play. Oh, we could also Foolish Burial Wand and then use Lib. Nah, that's probably not it. But yeah, I'm gonna skip through some steps. This is gonna be Halkifi Brax. Of course, same as the last one, we're gonna use Link Karibo. And you would discard Golem for the Jet Synchron's effect. Halkifi Brax effect. Foolish Burial. I think Knightmare's the way to go. It usually is. So now we can use Knightmare, dump Wand, and then Wand's going to end up summoning Knightmare. That's going to put an Orcust on our board to help us get into our Orcust plays. So Knightmare to the grave, banish the Knightmare, summon the Wand, not Wand, but I just got that mixed up, but dump the Wand, banish Wand to summon Knightmare. Link these into Galatea. First I was thinking we could go into the Anaconda play, but we can't because we don't have simple skeletons. This might... maybe this is a different play. So yeah, since we can't do that, if we go back a step, and before we summon Orcust Knightmare, we could also link these into a... We could link those into a Union Carrier, do the same thing with Knightmare and Wand to summon Knightmare. And then we could equip Knightmare with Destruction Sword. That's a play we could do. We could either do Galatea Crescendo or we could do this. There's not much we can do in this scenario with the hand that we drew. It would just I think it would depend on the matchup. Some matchups you want more interaction. Other matchups, this is fine. And this kind of still sets you up for a little bit for next turn because you will have the Knightmare in the graveyard. And we still have the Nibiru. We have Called by the Grave. So we have some type of defense. And then on your next turn, you can attach something else to the Knightmare, like a Wand or a Symbol Skeletons. Something to extend your plays even further. Link them all away, get those cards in the graveyard, and then have a set graveyard for your next turn. So that's one thing that I really do like about Union Carrier over Anaconda at times. But I do play Anaconda as well. But Union Carrier sets you up better on your next turn. If it survives. It's pretty weak, but if it survives, it does. So let's go ahead and get into the next hand. Also, if you guys see any better lines of play, definitely let me know in the comment section. Because maybe I missed something. So I definitely think there probably could have been something else we've done with Foolish Burial and essentially a Jet Synchron. But maybe I just missed it in this moment. Do one more cut. Oh no, what? Oh, okay, that's okay then. Alright, Nibiru in every hand. We're pretty good. Oh, this is terrible. But we are gonna have the desires. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then draw 1 and... oh, okay. That's fine then. Oops. These black sleeves are really annoying at times. Let's see what we banished. We banished Knightmare, Wand, Brass Bombard, Destruction Sword, and the Jet Synchron. That's fine. The only thing that we banished that's notable is the Destruction Sword. This means we're not going to be able to go into the Union Carrier plays. I mean, we could, but we're just not going to be, equipping Destruction Sword. But everything else is fine. Oh, and Brass Bomber, so that means no Halkifi Brax. We can still use it, but we're just going to have to be summoning Jet Synchron with it. although we banished one Jet Synchron too, so not the best desires, but we drew into Scrap Recycler, which is, you know, insane. But we also have Golem in our hand. It still works. Yep, so normals. I don't know if I want to play through this and take the time to do this, or move on to the next hand. Yeah, let's actually move on to the next hand, but let me know what you guys get with this hand in the comment section, because there are still plays that you can make. Even though you drew Scrap Golem, you're still going to be able to dump a Scrap, or to dump a Jet Synchron, discard the Golem, and then even though Golem's in the graveyard, you can bring this back with Scrap Wyvern and continue to combo off. We also have the Foolish Burial, so that's another extender that we have. We're going to be able to get a pretty loaded graveyard. We already have Crescendo, so that's going to add to what we can search with Galatea, because we didn't banish like the field spell or returns, so we still have a lot of options pretty much. And then we have Nibiru, so that's cool too. Oh, and a Desire, so we have something that's easily destroyed with our Scrap Wyvern that we're going to end up making. So this hand is still very playable, but I just don't want to take the time right now to go into it. So let me know what you guys get in your end board in the comment section, and I'll let you guys know what I get. I'll run through it later too as well. Let's move on to another hand. But that definitely shows how good Desires is. I mean, at first you would think Desires isn't good in this deck because you have a lot of cards that you want in your deck, but because of the numbers of them that we play, it makes Desires acceptable. And generally you're not going to lose off of Desires unless you banish like all your Knightmares or all your Skeletons, or, you know, stupid stuff like that. And if that happens, you weren't going to win that game anyways. You just got unlucky, which happens, but not often. But Desires is usually pretty good. Alright, so this is a much better hand. And so we have Scrap Recycler, Orcust Knightmare, Called by the Grave, Phantasme, and a Return. And Scrap Recycler and Called by the Grave is already absurd, but this on top of it's even better. So I think the play here is to start with the Orchestrated Return. This is going to maybe test for Ash Blossom. Test for Ash Blossom. But also it's going to get Knightmare in the graveyard, so that if your opponent does stop the Recycler, then you have a follow-up. I guess another option would be, if they do have Ash, you could go ahead with the Recycler and then guarantee that your Knightmares, or that your return is going to resolve. But I think this is maybe slightly better. I mean, you have Called by the Grave anyways, but still. So you go ahead and play Return, draw into Brass Bombard and Armageddon Knight. Both of these are useless. So from here we go into a Scrap Recycler play. Normal summon Scrap Recycler. We have Called by the Grave for any hand traps, and from here you can do essentially anything you want. I mean, this can be Union Carrier, Dingirsu, Longirsu, Crescendo, or it can be anything. Appaloosa, whatever you want to do with this hand. If you guys want to see some combos with this deck, go ahead and click into the YouTube cards, where there will be a link to the combo video, where there's just so much you can do with the Scrap Recycler that there's no point in even going through this right now. Just watch the combo video. Alright, this is another pretty solid hand. So we have Jet Synchron plus Wand. That's pretty good. Jet Synchron effects can get Wand in the graveyard to open up some lib plays if we go that route. Or we could just go through the standard Jet Synchron boards. We could also go through play the Desires and see what we get here. I would say we definitely want to go through Halkifibrax first, just to see what we draw. We really don't want to banish our Brass Bombard, because that would essentially stop our plays. So we can go through this until when we would play the Desires, just to see where this goes. Because if we draw into any Orcust monsters, then we get really good hands. If we don't, at least we didn't banish our Brass Bombard, which would really, really hurt what we can do with this. So same as before, link this into a Link Karibo. Activate Jet Synchron's effect, discarding the Wand. Bring back Jet Synchron, link both of these into Halkifibrax. Halkifibrax effect is going to summon a Brass Bombard from the deck. Alright, now we're going to play our Desires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, 2 useless cards. Well, not useless. I mean, they're obviously very good cards, but not at this point in our turn. Let's see what we banished. Gizmek, that hurts. 2 Knightmares, but we have a third in the deck, so that's also fine. Succession also hurts a little bit because there's very little point to lib, you know, when you don't have Succession to extend with. I mean, I guess if you can have lib in IP Masquerena, lib has a purpose, but Succession is a very important part of that. And so maybe the better line would have been to go into lib first to set the Succession to guarantee we have a little bit of extension from there, but maybe not, because if we don't draw anything good, then we still don't have much to extend with even with the Succession. Maybe we would end up with like lib, Succession, and then, you know, I guess we could Succession back like a Brass Bomber and then go into Galatea. But that's the same as just going into Galatea here. But I think this hand ends up just being Galatea Crescendo, which isn't half bad, but it's not amazing obviously either. But we do have a Scrap Recycler for next turn. Another question would be whether or not we hold the Called by the Grave in our hand to protect our Scrap Recycler play on the next turn, or do we set it as a little bit of disruption? So we kind of have to see where we fall with that, because we're going to have Crescendo, maybe Cosmic Cyclone. We have the same decision with Cyclone and Called by the Grave actually. Do we set it for extra defense, or do we hold it to follow up with on our next turn? So maybe our opponent sets a back row. We could deal with that back row then, or maybe we use it on our opponent's turn defensively. So that's a choice that you're going to have to make. And we do have the Phantasmate regardless, but Phantasmate obviously doesn't protect you from getting OTK'd. Maybe one of our next cards is Nibiru, and then that wouldn't be fine to draw into. So maybe they link summon and then we draw into, okay, yeah, no. So this is a dicey situation, but not bad. It's enough to maybe get you there. But let's go ahead and move into one final hand. Alright, final hand. Let's see. Ooh, new addition to the deck. Alright, this last card is going to make or break us. It's going to be a Scrap... okay. So this is another hand where we have to use the Desires first. Once again, I think Desires is a great card in Orcust. Very low chance that you ruin your entire deck, but it's a good chance that we're going to draw into one of 3 Scrap Recyclers, 3 Jet Synchron / tunings. We have Armageddon Knight, we have Foolish Burial, we have so many starter cards in this deck, and we don't have any right now. There's a good chance we draw into some with this Desires. Low chance that we auto lose, high chance that we auto win. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Foolish Burial and Scrap Recycler. Wow, we're so good. What do we banish? Hopefully not Golem. Crescendo, that's fine. Oh, okay. We're not good. Wand, Knightmare, Golem, Crescendo. That kind of sucks. I mean, we're still going to be able to resolve Scrap Wyvern. It just kind of sucks to not have the Golem with it. Alright, so we can normal summon Scrap Recycler. Use the effect to dump Jet Synchron. I know some people play O-Lion, but I like Jet Synchron better because O-Lion's a brick sometimes when you draw it, but Jet Synchron is always good, either in your deck or in your hand. So we can discard Knightmare for Jet Synchron. Bring that back. Link both of these into a Scrap Wyvern. Let's see, where is Scrap Wyvern? Ah, here it is. So now for Scrap Wyvern's effect, we need a card that we can destroy. And it kind of sucks to maybe potentially have to do this to the Foolish Burial, but I'm not sure what we would even want to send with it at this point, because we're going to resolve Scrap Recycler multiple times, so we're going to be sending most of the Orcust cards we want to the graveyard, so there really isn't much of a place for Foolish Burial in this play, outside of maybe sending an extra... I think we banished Gizmek. Did we banish Gizmek? Okay, that was a different hand we banished Gizmek. But we could maybe send the Gizmek here, but there really isn't much that we can do with this. It's a great card, but unfortunately it's one that we're going to maybe end up destroying. We want to keep the Instant Fusion, because that, at worst, Means if we can get the Galatea, we can have Dingirsu Winda floodgate our opponents out. So go ahead and set the Foolish Burial, activate Wyvern's effect. Oh, it doesn't destroy that yet, but bring back the Scrap Recycler, destroy the Scrap Recycler. Second effect triggers to special summon another Scrap Recycler from our deck because we banished our Golem. The second Scrap Recycler is going to get the effect. We already have a Knightmare in the graveyard, and so we should probably go ahead and send Wand. Which, yeah, we would do that anyways, actually, so we could use Lib. But then Wyvern's going to destroy the set Foolish Burial. Yeah, see, normally you'd have Golem. Golem would bring back the Recycler, and then you have those two monsters to go into Lib here. But here, because we don't have that, we have to link these into the Lib. And then because we have the Wand in the graveyard, we can go ahead and set the Succession. Oh, wait, did we banish Succession? Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, never mind. That's not the play. I'm getting like all the... We played Desire so much in this video, I'm like getting them mixed up. Yeah, so if we banish Succession, we get to this point. That's tough. So we have to just go into our Orcust plays now. This is the graveyard. And so we go ahead and activate Knightmare. So we banish that. We definitely want to get Symbol Skeletons in the grave. So symbols. Now we can activate Wand's effect to bring back the Knightmare. Oh yeah, another option we did have as well is to we could have also still gone into Lib. That way we have Lib in the IP Mask Arena, but this is fine if we don't as well. Kind of works out okay either way. We can link both of these into a Galatea. And now for Galatea's effect, shuffle back the Wand, get the Field Spell. I guess we still do have the Instant Fusion. We could use that as an extender. But originally I wanted to end on a Winda. We got some options here, guys. So this is our current hand. We could use the Instant Fusion as an extender, and that way we have some extra summons. Maybe we could go into like an IP Mask Arena. Yeah, we could have IP Mask Arena, Galatea. That way we have a disruption with the Unicorn, and then we'd obviously have Dingirsu in the graveyard, so we have Symbol Skeletons, get back that. So we'd have multiple disruptions, or we could just summon the Winda, end on Dingirsu plus Winda, have Scrap Wyvern for a bit of a follow-up play if our opponent can't break our board. That's also another option. Something else I realized now that we probably should have done is if we didn't want to end on the Scrap Wyvern, we could have also linked that away into the Galatea and then had more non-link monsters to go into IP Mask Arena with. Whereas here it'd be a little bit difficult if we did want to go that route. We would have to like Instant Fusion into Winda and then do it with that, or we would have to use our Symbol Skeletons to revive like Knightmare and then do it with that, because we would need two non-link monsters. And obviously we have Dingirsu, which we would go into, but it becomes questionable what our other non-link monster would be. So we'd either have to sacrifice ending with like an Orcust monster on the board, so we have to sacrifice what we're bringing back with the Galatea, or sacrifice our ability to keep Winda on board. So we have to make that decision, or have to Scrap Wyvern. But any of those would be valid options. I think it just kind of depends on how you read your opponent, what you think the best play to be in that scenario against whatever you're playing against, whatever you think you're playing against, if this is like a random game one. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's time for me to go ahead and go to work or something. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to see more Orcust videos, again, let me know in the comments section. If you guys want to see another deck profile, an updated deck profile, I can do that as well. Because this is different from the one I did a couple of weeks ago before the ban list, I think it was. That one was just after Dual Overload. And so there are a couple of changes that I think make the deck a little bit better in some regards. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you saw any better lines of play. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. I usually like to reply to most of them. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.